The sun on Veralis was bright, casting golden light across the grand halls of the Valeri Palace. Humans and Valeri warriors stood side by side, dressed in formal uniforms. Banners of both worlds hung high. It was a ceremony meant to bring peace and understanding. But deep inside, tension still lived between the two species. Alex, a young human soldier, stood stiffly near the back of the hall. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his formal jacket didn't fit perfectly.
It wasn't.
A high-ranking officer, just one of the few humans chosen to join the peace mission. He didn't speak much, but his eyes watched everything. The Valeri were tall, strong, and graceful. Their skin shimmered like polished stone, and their armor gleamed. They were known across the galaxy for their discipline and pride. To many humans, they seemed cold and impossible to understand. But Alex didn't believe that. I thought every species had more behind their masks. A group of Valeri guards performed a sword display in front of the gathering. Sharp blades danced in the air, their movements smooth and perfect. The crowd clapped softly, showing respect. Alex, however, whispered under his breath, "Looks pretty, but it's just a show." He didn't know that someone nearby had heard him. A silence slowly spread across the hall. People turned. Valeri warriors stepped aside, and from behind the curtain of guards, she stepped forward, the princess herself. Princess Lyria was unlike any other Valeri. Her presence was strong but calm. Her long silver hair flowed behind her, and her eyes held a deep fire. She walked with grace, but there was power in each step. When she looked at Alex, the room felt colder. "Did you question the strength of my guards, human?" Her voice was smooth but carried weight. Alex blinked. "I didn't mean it like that. You challenged their honor," she said, stepping closer. "No, I just thought in our custom a challenge must be answered." The room went silent again. Alex looked around. Everyone stared at him, humans and Valeri alike. Some looked shocked, others worried. A few tried to signal for him to apologize and step down, but Alex didn't move. He didn't mean to insult anyone. But now, backing down would look like fear. He wasn't trying to be a hero, but he also couldn't let the moment crush him then. "Fine," he said, standing taller. "I accept the challenge." Murmurs filled the hall. A Valeri noble leaned over and whispered something to another. A human officer shook his head slowly. Alex felt his stomach twist, but he didn't show it. Princess Lyria raised one eyebrow, almost amused. "You understand what this means?" "No," Alex said honestly, "but I'll learn." She nodded. "The duel will be held at dawn tomorrow, in the arena." With that, she turned and walked away. The guards followed her, leaving the humans behind in stunned silence. Alex stood still, heart pounding in his chest. One of his fellow soldiers came up to him. "Are you crazy?" she asked. "That's Lyria. She's not just a princess, she's their champion. She's trained since childhood." "I didn't know," Alex said softly. "I didn't mean for this to happen. You'd still have time to apologize and cancel it." Alex shook his head. "Not now. If I back out, it'll make things worse. They'll think humans are cowards." Another voice spoke. "You're brave," said a Valeri guard, surprisingly calm. "Or foolish. But either way, you'll need help." Later that evening, Alex stood in the small training hall provided for the human team. A digital dummy stood before him. He picked up a simple practice blade and began moving through the basic stances he had learned during training. Just the basics. He wasn't the best fighter. In fact, he barely passed his combat scores during boot camp. But he was quick, and he was smart. He didn't plan to beat the princess with power. He just wanted to survive. Maybe impress her enough to call it a draw. As he trained, someone watched him from the shadows of the high balcony. Lyria stood there, quiet and still. She observed him not with anger, but with curiosity. Most warriors would have begged for mercy by now or tried to run. But he didn't. He faced the mistake he made and accepted the cost. That kind of courage was rare. "He's untrained," said one of her royal guards standing beside her. "Perhaps," she replied, "but he has spirit. We'll defeat him easily." "That is not the goal." The guard looked confused, But Lyria said no more. She turned and walked away, her silver hair catching the moonlight. Deep inside, she felt something strange. The duel tomorrow was no longer just a duty. It had become something else. Alex didn't sleep that night. He trained until his arms hurt. When he finally sat down, he looked out the window at the stars above. He had never felt so small, yet something inside him still burned. She's probably faster. Stronger and smarter, he whispered. But maybe that's not all that matters. As the night passed, the whole palace buzzed with quiet talks. Humans prepared for what they feared would be an embarrassing defeat. Valeri prepared to watch their princess once again prove her strength. Everyone expected a clear result. Everyone except Alex. And maybe the Princess Dawn approached. The duel would begin soon, and nothing would be the same after. The morning sky over Veralis was painted with soft pink and gold colors. The sun rose slowly behind the tall mountains that surrounded the royal city. In the center of the capital stood the ancient arena circular structure made of stone, metal, and glowing energy. It had stood for thousands of years and had seen hundreds of battles. But today, it would witness something strange, a duel between a Valeri princess and a human soldier. Alex stood at the edge of the arena, dressed in a plain black uniform. He held a practice blade in his right hand. It wasn't sharp, but it could hurt if swung with enough strength. He breathed slowly, trying to calm his nerves. He had barely slept. Damn. His arms were sore. His thoughts were racing. But he didn't plan to run. Not now. The human ambassador stood near him. "You still have time to say no," the older man said gently. "Just a few words and this ends." Alex looked at the arena and then at the gathered crowd. The seats were packed with Valeri nobles, soldiers, and even curious civilians. Human delegations sat to one side, watching with tight faces. "If I back out now," Alex said, "what would they think of us?" The ambassador sighed. "They'd think we were wise or afraid." "Maybe, but I'd rather lose standing than win crawling." Just then, a loud horn echoed through the arena. The gates across from him opened. Princess Lyria stepped forward. Dressed in ceremonial armor that shone under the morning light, her blade was slightly longer than Alex's, curved and elegant. She walked with the same calm power as always. The crowd fell silent as she entered the ring. She stopped a few steps away from him and studied him closely. "You are here," she said softly. "You did not run." "I said I'd be here," Alex replied. She tilted her head. "You still have a chance to end this peacefully." "I don't want to fight," he said, "but I also won't walk away." There was a pause. Then she nodded. A Valeri judge raised his hand and called out in their native language. A few seconds later, the arena shield activated. A soft blue wall of energy rose around the circle, separating the fighters from the crowd. The duel had officially begun. Alex took a defensive stance, just like he practiced. Lyria moved with grace. She didn't attack right away. She circled him, testing his balance, watching his reactions. She struck once fast and clean, but Alex blocked it just in time. His arms shook from the force. "You're holding back," he said, breathing hard. "You're not ready for my full strength," she replied. "Then I'll never be ready unless you show me." Lyria's eyes narrowed. Then she moved faster. Alex struggled to keep up. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She was testing him, his speed, his focus, his choices. He blocked a strike, stepped back, rolled to the side, and swung back. She dodged. With ease still, something changed. The crowd began to lean forward. They had expected the duel to end quickly, but Alex was still on his feet. Each movement was clumsy compared to Lyria's elegance, but he was learning, adjusting, thinking. He wasn't trying to beat her. He was trying to understand her. "Why? Are you doing this?" she asked between movements. "Doing what?" "Fighting me when you know you cannot win." Alex blocked another strike and stepped back. "Because you deserve a real answer to your challenge, and I deserve a chance too. Give it." Lyria stopped for a moment. Her blade pointed downward. The crowd murmured. This had never happened before. A duel interrupted by words. You respect our customs, she said slowly. I'm trying, Alex replied. Even if I don't understand them all. She looked at him for a long time. Then she lowered her blade. This duel is finished. The judge blinked. Princess. He has shown courage, Lyria said loudly, turning to the crowd. He faced fear, not with force, but with truth. That is the spirit of a real warrior. The arena fell silent. Itz and Valeri nodded. Others looked surprised. Alex stood frozen. Wait, did I win? Lyria stepped closer. There is no winning here, only learning. And then, in front of thousands, she leaned forward and gently kissed him on the cheek. Gasps filled the arena. Even the human ambassador dropped his jaw. Alex blinked. What was that? A mark of respect, she whispered. And a message to both our people. The shield around the arena dropped. The duel was over. Something far more powerful had begun. Humans and Valeri left the arena in silence, not with shouts or arguments, but with thoughts spinning in. Their minds at Alex and Lyria walked side by side toward the gates. You surprised me, she said. You kissed me, he replied. She smiled. It was the right move. Does that mean I'm forgiven? It means you're not forgotten. As they stepped into the halls of the palace again, their footsteps echoed together, and somewhere in the air between them, peace was starting to bloom. The news of the duel spread faster than fire and dry grass. Across the capital of Veralis, and even beyond to the distant colonies, people talked about the strange moment, a human soldier who dared to challenge the Valeri princess, and walked away not broken, but kissed. Some thought it was a joke, others believed it was staged. But those who had been in the arena knew the truth. They had seen it with their own eyes. Something important had happened, something no one fully understood. Yet, Alex sat alone on the balcony of the guest quarters assigned to the human delegation. He held a cool drink in his hand, though he barely touched it. His body was sore. His arms ached, but none of that mattered. His thoughts were too full. He replayed the duel in his mind again and again. Hadn't won, and yet he hadn't lost. Either he hadn't expected kindness from the princesses, especially not that soft kiss on the cheek. What had it meant? Respect? Peace? Something else? The door behind him opened with a soft sound. He turned and saw Princess Lyria standing there. She wasn't in her armor now. She wore a light blue robe made of soft material that shimmered under the sunlight. Her long silver hair was tied back, and her face looked calm, even peaceful. May I join you? She asked. Of course, he said, standing up quickly. She sat beside him on the bench, and for a few moments they didn't speak. The air was warm, filled with the sounds of birds and soft wind. Your people are confused, she said softly. Some are angry, some are curious. And your people? He asked. The same. Many don't understand what I did. Alex looked at her. Do you? She smiled gently. I think so. Then why? He asked. Why stop the duel? Why the kiss? She took a breath and looked out at the sky. I have fought many battles, Alex. I have faced warriors stronger and faster than you, but you showed me something different. You stood against me not to win, but to be true. You didn't fight with pride. You fought with purpose. I just didn't want to be seen as weak. And that, too, has meaning. Strength comes in many forms. Alex nodded slowly. Still, I feel like I walked into a storm without knowing where I was going. But you didn't run, even knowing you might lose. That matters to my people. They sat in silence again. Birds flew overhead. In the distance, the city glowed under the setting sun. What happens now? Alex asked. Lyria turned to him now. We talk, not just you and me, but our worlds. They'll talk just because of this duel. No, she said, but they'll listen. And that's the first step to peace. He smiled. I didn't expect any of this. Neither did I, she said. But sometimes the unexpected is what we need most. Just then, a soft knock came from the hallway. One of Lyria's guards stepped into view. Princess, the council is gathering. They wish to hear your thoughts on the human soldier. Tell them I'll be there soon, she replied calmly. The guard bowed and left. Alex raised an eyebrow. They're discussing me? Yes. Some want to know if you are a threat. Others see you as a symbol of change. He laughed lightly. I was just trying to fix a mistake. You may have fixed more than you know. She stood up, looking down at him. Do you come with me? To the council, yes? He paused. They might not want me there. That's why you should come. To let them see you not as a fighter, but as a human. He stood and nodded. Then let's go. They walked together through the palace halls. Valeri guards stepped aside. Nobles whispered. Some stared with disapproval, others with curiosity. No one spoke directly, but the silence held many opinions. They entered the grand council chamber. It was shaped like a circle, with tall seats rising around a central platform. Many Valeri elders sat there, dressed in robes of different colors, showing their rank and roles. They looked down at Alex and Lyria as they stepped forward. One elder stood. Princess Lyria, why have you brought the human? Because you asked about him, she said. And it is better to speak to someone than speak about them, murmurs. Spread through the chamber, another elder spoke. Human, do you understand what happened in the arena? Alex took a breath. I made a mistake. I spoke without thinking. I challenged something I didn't understand. And instead of hiding, I stood by my words and the kiss. A third elder asked sharply. Alex's face warmed. I didn't ask for it, but it meant something. Something good. Lyria stepped forward. It meant respect, peace, hope. Some say it was weakness, an older woman said. Then they don't understand true strength, Lyria replied. This human showed courage not in winning, but in trying. In learning, not giving up. The room went quiet. Alex looked at them all. I'm not a hero. I'm not special. But if my small action helps our people talk more, then I'm proud of it. The council remained silent for a long moment. Finally, one elder stood and spoke. Then let the talks begin. Alex looked. At Lyria, she smiled. And just like that, the first door to peace had been opened. The council meeting ended with quiet nods and serious faces. Though no promises were made, something had clearly shifted. The elders who once saw humans as weak and emotional now looked at Alex with a new kind of curiosity. It wasn't full respect, but it was no longer disrespect either, as Alex and Lyria left the grand chamber. The air around them felt lighter. You did well, she said as they walked down the palace steps. I didn't say much, Alex replied. Sometimes a few honest words are stronger than 100 speeches. He smiled at her. I never imagined I'd be standing in front of an alien council explaining why I got kissed in an arena. Lyria chuckled softly. And yet you did. Outside, the city was alive. Valeri workers moved through the markets. Children practiced training in the fields. And large birds flew over the shining rooftops. Despite the growing friendship between their worlds, humans were still new to these lands. But after the duel, Alex noticed more smiles directed his way. Not many, but enough. They reached the edge of the garden near the guest hall. The trees had smooth purple trunks and soft blue leaves that sparkled under the light. It was peaceful. There, and Alex sat on one of the benches with a sigh. I think my legs are still sore, he said, rubbing his knee. You fought bravely, Lyria said, sitting beside him. Few can say they stood against a Valeri warrior and lived to talk about it, and even fewer get kissed afterward. She looked at him with a playful smirk. Don't get used to that. Alex laughed. No promises. After a moment, he grew quiet. Do you think they'll take this seriously? The council, I mean? Will they really work with us now? Lyria leaned back, her eyes on the sky. They're slow to change, but they are not blind. What they saw was real. Sometimes it just takes a small spark to start a larger fire. So I'm a spark. A strange one, but yes. They both smiled suddenly. One of the guards ran up to them. His face was tense. Princess, a message just arrived from the outer colonies, he said. Lyria stood quickly. What is it? A Valeri patrol ship was attacked near the border. There were human signatures in the area. It is stood as... Well, wait, what kind of signatures? They don't know yet. But some council members already believe humans may have broken the treaty. Lyria's face turned serious. Show me the report. The guard handed her a tablet. She read through the lines quickly, her eyes narrowing. These don't make sense, she said. The timing is strange. The human ship was marked 2 days after the last record of its presence. Could it be faked? Alex asked. It's possible. Others won't wait to find out. They will use this as proof. They'll try to end the peace talks. Alex felt a cold fear rise in his chest. What can we do? We must reach the patrol zone before they do, Lyria said. See it for ourselves. Alex blinked. Yes, she said. You and me. If we go together, as a team, it might slow down those who want war. He hesitated for only a second, then nodded. Then let's move. Within an hour, the royal transport ship was prepared. Sleek and fast, it cut through the clouds like a silver arrow. Alex stood beside Lyria in the cockpit, watching the sky grow darker as they entered orbit. You sure the council will be okay with this? He asked. They won't, she replied, but we're not waiting for permission. Starting to see where your courage comes from, she gave him a glance. You showed me the path. I'm simply walking it. They reached the patrol zone within a few hours. The area was quiet to quiet. Stars blinked in the distance. Few debris pieces floated by, pieces of metal marked with Valeri symbols. But no wreckage. No signs of human ships. This doesn't feel right, Alex said. Agreed, Lyria replied. Open the scanners. Look for any false energy trails. Alex worked quickly on the console. A few moments later, his screen blinked. There's something here. Hidden under this asteroid field, a beacon. It's broadcasting human codes. But it's not human tech. Lyria frowned. Someone's trying to frame your people, which means someone wants war. She nodded, and now we know the truth. Before they could celebrate, alarms rang across the ship. Incoming vessels. Alex shouted, Valeri warships. Lyria looked at the sensors. They're early. Too early. A deep voice echoed over the radio. This is General Oren of the Valeri High Fleet. Surrender the human at once. Alex and Lyria exchanged a glance. Not today, she said, and she pressed the engines to full power. The royal ship darted between asteroids as the larger Valeri warships followed close behind. Alex gripped the sides of his seat, feeling the ship shake with every sharp turn. The engines roared, and the ship's shields flickered from stray shots. Princess Lyria sat calmly at the controls, her eyes focused, her hands steady. They're not just following, Alex said. They're trying to capture us. No, Lyria replied. They're trying to silence us. But you're there. Princess, not all of them respect my choices. Another blast hit the side of their ship. The alarms beeped again. A voice came through the radio, loud and stern. You are disobeying direct orders, Princess Lyria. Power down your ship and hand over the human? Ignore them, she said. We have proof now. We can't let them stop us. Alex looked at the screen, showing the false beacon data. We need to send this to someone who still believes in peace. There's one outpost nearby, she said, Station Alari. Small, neutral, and far from politics. We reach it. We can transmit the data safely. Then let's go. They pushed the engines harder, flying low through the asteroid field. Behind them, 2 of the Valeri ships split off, trying to block their path. Lyria's fingers danced over the controls. The ship twisted and spun through narrow gaps in the rocks. Alex was tossed slightly in his seat but kept his eyes on the rear. Sensors. They're gaining on us, he said. Just a little more. The ship passed through a final opening, and suddenly space opened wide. In the distance, the small, round shape of Station Alari floated quietly. There it is, Alex shouted. Before they could reach it, a new signal lit up on their screen. Another Valeri warship appeared, bigger than the rest. Its weapons were already charging. They sent the flagship, Lyria said softly. They really don't want the truth getting out. But it's too late now. She opened the communication channel to the station. This is Princess Lyria of the Valeri royal line. I carry proof of a false attack meant to break the peace with humanity. We request immediate access to transmit this data. A pause, then a calm voice replied, Princess, We hear you. Opening channel now." Just then, the flagship fired. A bright beam of energy hit their ship's rear engine. The shields held barely, but the ship shook violently. Alex hit the control panel hard and uploaded the data to the secure channel. "Transmitting now," he yelled. The file bar crawled slowly across the screen as another blast rocked them. "They're not going to wait," Lyria said. "We need to hold them off just long enough." Alex nodded and stood from his seat. "What are you doing?" she asked, giving them a reason to aim at me. He ran toward the back of the ship, strapping on a small spacesuit and grabbing a flare launcher. He opened the airlock, and in seconds, he was floating outside, holding tightly to the outer shell. Then he fired the bright red flare. All the ships turned their sensors to him. "He's outside the ship." A voice from the flagship shouted. Lyria watched from the cockpit, her chest tight. She reached for the controls and turned the ship in a defensive angle, covering Alex with the thicker side of the hull. Then she looked at the data screen still uploading. Come on," she whispered. Meanwhile, Alex hung there in space, holding the grip with frozen fingers. The flare burned out, but it had worked. The enemy ships hesitated, unsure of what to do next. Finally, the screen in the cockpit blinked green. Upload complete. Lyria exhaled and activated the broadcast. "To all who hear this," her voice echoed, "through every nearby signal, we have sent proof that the human ship near the Valeri patrol zone was framed. Someone wants war, but we choose truth. We choose peace." Within seconds, the message spread across channels. Station Alari confirmed the signal. Then, another signal came, this time from a different council member. "Princess Lyria, we have received your message. Hold your position. A neutral fleet is on the way." Lyria opened the airlock and pulled Alex back inside. His face was pale, but he was smiling. "Did it work?" he asked, shivering. "Yes," she whispered. "You did it?" He laughed softly. "I can't feel my toes. You won't need them for now." They sat side by side as the flagship powered down its weapons. Slowly, the pursuing ships turned and retreated. Minutes later, the neutral fleet arrived. Human and Valeri peacekeepers entered the area and took control. The false beacon was collected, the data confirmed, and the plan to destroy the peace treaty was exposed. General Iran was removed from command. Alex and Lyria stood once more before the joint council. This time, there were no doubts, no angry voices, only respect. "You risked everything." 1. Elder said to Alex. "I didn't do it alone," he replied, looking at Lyria. "Together," she said, "we showed them what peace can really look like." Days passed since the truth was revealed, but the memory of what happened near the border remained fresh in everyone's minds. Alex and Lyria had not only saved the peace treaty, they had started something new. Trust was still hard to earn, but the first bricks had been laid. Walls were being broken, step by step. Alex stood on the balcony of the newly built Joint Training Center. The building was located between the human and Valeri zones. It was a place where soldiers, scholars, and leaders could meet without fear. He looked out at the open fields, where young recruits trained together, some human, some Valeri. They ran, fought, and laughed side by side. He smiled quietly. Just a few weeks ago, that scene would have been impossible. Footsteps came behind him. He didn't need to turn to know it was Lyria. "You always find the quietest spots," she said gently. "Helps me think," Alex replied. "You're becoming more Valeri every day." He chuckled. "And you're becoming more human." They stood together, watching the field. "Did you ever think we'd come this far?" she asked, honestly. "No," he said. "I thought I'd be sent home after the duel or locked in a cell. Instead, you were kissed. I still get asked about that." "So do I," she said with a smirk. "Many don't understand it. Some still question it. Do you regret it?" he asked. She looked at him, her eyes calm. "Not even for a moment." There was silence for a while, not uncomfortable, just thoughtful. Then Lyria spoke again. "The council has offered you a place here, as a bridge between humans and Valeri. They want you to stay." Alex took a deep, Breath, I heard. Will you accept it? He thought for a moment. I don't know if I'm the right person. I'm not a leader or a scholar. I just got lucky. No, she said, you were brave, honest, kind. We need more of that here. He looked at her. Are you asking me to stay? I'm asking you to walk forward, she said softly. With me, with heartbeat a little faster. Sounds like more than just a job offer. She smiled. Maybe it is. Later that evening, a celebration was held. Humans and Valeri filled the halls of the new center. Food from both worlds was shared. Music filled the air. Laughter echoed through the rooms. Alex stood near the edge of the room, watching the mix of people. An older Valeri soldier approached him. You're the one from the duel, the soldier said. Double quotes, yes, sir. I watched the recording, the man said. You had no chance of winning, but you still stood your ground. That was brave. Thank you. The soldier nodded and walked away. Simple words, but they meant more than Alex could explain. Lyria joined him. Her robe a mix of human and Valeri design. Her silver hair was braided with a small blue ribbon gift from a human child earlier that day. You look calm, she said, just trying to take it all in. I have one more surprise, she said, holding up a small black box. What's this? Open it. He opened the box and found a medal inside, half-shaped like a Valeri crest, the other half like the Earth symbol. What is this? Asked the first of its kind, she said. A medal for peace and courage from both our worlds. Alex stared at it for a moment. I don't know if I deserve this. You do. He looked at her. Then I'll wear it proudly. The celebration continued into the night. Stories were shared. Bonds were formed. And somewhere under the stars, the past began to fade and the future began to grow. When most of the guests had gone to rest, Alex and Lyria stepped outside. The night was quiet, the sky filled with stars. You know, Alex said, if someone told me I'd travel across the galaxy, challenge an alien princess, get kissed, nearly shot, and then offered a job by the Royal Council, I would have laughed. And now? She asked. Now I'm glad I said what I said that day, he replied, even if it was foolish. Sometimes foolishness leads to the greatest things, she said. He looked at her. What now? How we build, she said. A better world. One step at a time. Together. She nodded. Together. Together. Under the stars without fear or doubt. They walked back toward the lights of the future side by side, and though it all started with a duel, it ended with something much greater: peace, hope, and something that might even become love.